Next, we also want to go back and connect past to the future. We're going to bring to you Pine Hall Brick Company, and Ted Corvey, the paver business director and marketing director, is going to come and tell us about some new products that Pine Hall Brick, this 85-year-old, 8th largest in the world brick maker, is bringing to the future. And in case you don't know it, impervious surfaces are really bad for the environment, so we're glad to hear about what Ted brings us news of today.
It certainly is a pleasure to be here this morning and tell you a little bit about what we're doing at Pine Hall Brick. It's certainly not as high-tech as some of the things you've heard about, but it is something of interest to us all, and that's clean water. A little bit about Pine Hall Brick. We were founded in 1922 here in Winston-Salem. We manufacture both face brick and clay pavers, making us the 8th largest brick company and the largest producer of clay pavers in the United States. And this past January, we introduced Rain Pave and Storm Pave. We did this primarily because of the National Pollution Discharge Elimination System. That's NPDES for short, and we're already on to Phase 2. What that essentially means is that most municipalities across the country are required to have laws and programs in place to deal with stormwater, because stormwater contains pollutants. Now, as the population grows, we also know that development is going to grow along with it. And with that, we're going to have more buildings, more hard surfaces, streets, roads, parking lots, and that is what we call an impervious surface. It doesn't allow the water to drain down through those hard surfaces, so it wants to run off, and when it runs off, it picks up pollutants with it, and that's a bad thing. So what are we trying to do with stormwater, and what are the objectives? Well, we want to try to reduce or limit the amount of impervious cover. We want to retain, or we want to allow that stormwater to infiltrate back into the ground, and most importantly, we would like to capture the first inch of rain, and that's called the first flush because that carries all the pollutants with it from the ground. What we did was to turn to an ancient idea in that we went back to the days of the Romans and the Appian Way, and they invented what's called flexible-based paving. And that's paving on crushed stone and sand, and in their case, the wearing course was large stones. And it works well because the earth moves. And as the earth moves, you need a pavement system that's going to flex with it. And as I like to say, we build the cracks already in. Well, the new twist is that in the early 70s over in Europe, they came up with the idea of replacing those dense graded aggregates that have a lot of fine material that we use to put the foundation for roads on, and replace it with open graded aggregates and eliminate those fine particles. And that allows the water to flow through and hopefully back into the ground. Now, this is a typical permeable pavement. You see the wearing course on top, and you see the bricks as those wearing course. And the nice part about that is that they create joints so that it allows the water to go down through. These joints are typically about 1/4 of an inch, and below you see the series of dense or open graded aggregates that allow the water to flow down to the ground and either go into the ground or it can be piped off to another place. Now, this is called a best management practice, BMP, and it is approved by the EPA. Now, there are a lot of benefits. Obviously, the first one is that if you get the water down to the ground and you can allow it to go back into the ground, then you get a natural filtering action. You can also count on some filtering action from the aggregate because natural bacteria will build up on the aggregate, and it will help deal with some pollutants as well. By allowing the water to go down through the pavement rather than across it, you can reduce the heavy flow of water into rivers and streams and reduce erosion. You can also reduce the temperature of that water because in the summertime, pavements get hot. So as the rainwater goes over it, it increases the temperature, and that's bad for fish in the streams. And you get something that's visually more attractive than a typical BMP like a retention pond. You can walk on it, you can drive on it. And most importantly, you can maximize the square footage of the building that you're trying to develop, whether that's on a residential or a commercial basis, and that's good for developers. Now, you would think that the sky is the limit, and really it is, because this market is reaching what I call a critical mass. You've got the government coming together with MPDES, you've got the environmental green movement, and in particular LEED, which is encouraging the development of environmentally friendly buildings. You've got private manufacturers coming to develop systems to deal with stormwater, and you've got academia that's trying to figure out how effective these methods are. And of course, you've got the ever-present media, and it's not a day that almost goes by that you can't see a story on the environment or the drought. So an industry is really born here, and it's a huge opportunity. Well, not so fast. Some areas don't recognize permeable pavements as a BMP. Part of that is because the research is a little incomplete on the ability of the system to be able to improve water quality, and in areas of clay soils like where we live in here that drain less than a ½ inch of water per hour, the state of North Carolina has not recognized it as a BMP. They recognize it on the coast, but not here in the West. Well, that brings me to an example. Blowing Rock, North Carolina. I had a developer call the other day, and he said, gee, we're doing a mixed-use development. We have a hotel, we have housing, and we have some retail space, and we have solved the hydrology for stormwater on the site, but we're bumping up against an impervious cover limit, yet the city of Blowing Rock wants more parking spaces. Now, the perfect solution is permeable pavements, but unfortunately, it's not recognized by the state of North Carolina and the western counties. So the burden is really on manufacturers like Pine Hall Brick, on developers to now move to the next state so we can realize this great opportunity. And that's the story of Rain Pave and Storm Pave. Thank you.